All 273 of your second stimulus check questions are answered if you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. Hey everybody, this is LALATE with a second stimulus check and second stimulus package update for today. This is our second one on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits, in which we answer your questions from yesterday. We launched this video yesterday in which we answered questions in a second video later in the day, and viewers really loved it, so we brought it back. Today we'll be answering all 273 of your second stimulus check questions overnight. To recap, there's currently 3 proposed amounts for second stimulus checks on the table. One is $1,200, one check. The second is a $2,000, a check more than $1,200, presumed to be about $2,000. The third is multiple checks, 6 $2,000 checks. Second, the likely date of approval of a second stimulus package is around August 8th. Third, the likely date of the funds arriving to you is somewhere in late August into September. And fourth, there's a lot of chatter about the second stimulus package overnight, and we'll be getting to that shortly. Let me see some of your questions. Kevin Lee, so let's get that $2,000 a month for Americans for sure. It needs to be retroactive. It does, but so far they really hate that word retroactive, members of Congress. Victoria, there's so many people on SSDI who live with someone that lost their jobs. By the way, our SSDI is less than $1,200. That is not the amount of your SSDI will not determine the amount of your second stimulus check. BTC coins, government should give everybody a check whether you're rich or not. Interesting point. If you watched our earlier video today on the second stimulus check, I detailed to you that I don't like what's happening overnight, which is saying that we will give a second stimulus check based upon what you filed in your 2019 tax return with the IRS coming in under $40,000. You know what I don't like about that. It requires the IRS to check up on you and double check who you are and ensure who you are. So you have to have filed a tax return. They have to have looked it up. I just think it's just a hot mess. I don't think it's going to work. Carrie Durgan, they managed to pass the protection for businesses so they can't be sued practically overnight. Texas Ranger, it's election year. They'll do whatever they can to get it passed. I agree. There's nothing worse in election year than to give a stimulus package to only certain people and say the rest of them, tough luck. Boy, tough luck, we're going to vote you out of office. You tell people tough luck. Saon Grant, I'd be so happy if they gave every U.S. citizen who made under $80,000 $1 million a year. I love that. Kimberly, I'm praying to God that the bill passes, that we get $2,000 per month for the next few months or until the virus flattens out. You know, I think that's great. People have asked me what I think is going to happen, and they've also asked me what I think is what I would have proposed if I was in Congress. I really do think that at least a single $2,000 check is going to be approved. I think it's somewhere around that amount per person. That's what I think is going to get approved. But I don't think that's fair. I think that viewers of this channel were entitled to checks for March, April, May, but only got one. And then in the fall are entitled to a check right now. And then if the pandemic gets worse, which, you know, it will, then checks start rolling out. I mean, if states go on to partial or full lockdown, stimulus checks need to be rolled out right away. People don't need to be waiting 3 months for a stimulus check. I mean, a stimulus check needs to be laid out when lockdowns are in place. It's ridiculous. I mean, how dare members of Congress go on vacations with their feet in the jacuzzi and their toes up, wiggling to some bad music and sipping Mai Tais, when you were on lockdown and they didn't give you crap. It's so horrible. Martha Gonzalez, why do all the rich need bailout? Very well said. I mean, Steve Mnuchin overnight said the PPP loan program is so wonderful. I don't know if I want to extend unemployment benefits. Steve, the PPP loan program does not work. It still is flawed and has nothing to do with unemployment benefits. Barb, you're the only one I can listen to. You say things I can understand. I try to make them very simple. I watched a couple of people's other videos overnight, and all they did was read news articles. I'm not going to sit here and read news articles to you. I'm here to ensure and help and educate you that you get your check if you're eligible, because ultimately, how you get the check, when it's coming, is not that simplistic. It has to be explained. You may qualify for a check, but ultimately you may not get it if you didn't go through a certain series of steps. And my job is to ensure that you get your check if you're eligible. PY, $2,000 a month for 6 months would be great. Richard, please vote Mitch out. Absolutely. Angela, I believe in miracles. God is alive. Helene, I watch and listen to you. You're straight to the point. The other people do not. Dawn, I want to say goodbye to Mitch. Saon, think about LA for these updates. Oh, thanks a bunch, LA, for these updates. I wish they would speed up things a lot. I do too. I mean, what makes me so angry, is that you were entitled to those checks in April, in May, and they said they were going to give them to you. The original version of the CARES Act said you were going to get multiple first stimulus checks. And then when they went to finally write the final version of the bill, they took those out. They said, oh, you know what, we'll get to them later. We have time. You know what's horrible about that? Not only did they not get to it, they knew they had their vacation scheduled. They knew they were going on vacation. They knew they were not going to be around. So they, in fact, almost lied to us. It's horrible. Sean, instead of paying $1,200, since they said big mistake for 3 months behind, so it should be $3,600 now to get caught up. I mean, yes, whether we call it retroactive or we call it getting caught up, they owe you money right now. I mean, this is in addition to those viewers who have not gotten their first stimulus check. There are some viewers who were eligible for a stimulus check but did not get it because perhaps this channel didn't exist at the time and there were steps you were supposed to go through. There are 12 million at least people out there who not got stimulus checks the first time around who the IRS cannot find. There's $200 to $300 million of first stimulus checks that still are trying to be delivered, and the IRS can't find people. It's really disconcerting. Christina, they're feeding the jacuzzi. They crack me up. You crack me up. Douglas, I think we should get $2,000 a month. Charlotte, Mitch McConnell's family business got a PPP loan. I mean, the PPP loan didn't help anyone but the PPP people that got the loan. It didn't really help. It didn't help the employees. White Witch, yes, it should be $2,000 a month. This channel is now on its 76th day, 10,000 new subscribers a day. Please always like and subscribe our videos. Please watch our videos. And boy, I mean, everyone has always said $2,000 a month. Everyone has liked that number of the viewers of the channel. No one has shouted at me and said, hey, it should be $4,000 a month. They've always said $2,000 a month, which is great. Connie, my husband really enjoys your program and will be sharing with our family and friends. Well, thank you, Connie Roy. So nice. PYSP says, that's so nice that the congressman could take a vacation. Jerrietta Archer, what if my daughter claimed me and makes more than $40,000? Will I still get one? So great question. The $40,000 chatter is all that it is. It's chatter. It's Mitch McConnell saying, oh, you know what? Maybe we will only give a second stimulus check to people who made less than $40,000. End of sentence. Mitch didn't explain anything about what he meant. It's not a bill. It hasn't been written down. It's not in an email. It's nowhere. It's literally Mitch saying it before he's about to grab that Mai Tai. We don't know what he's talking about. Now, if we're to guess what he's talking about, it would be dependent upon how much you made. And yes, so Jerrietta is making a great comment, which is, okay, she's on someone else's return as a dependent. Okay, Mitch, how do we deal with dependents? I have all my viewers who are dependents on someone else's tax returns. How do you know how much the dependent made last year? Joanna, thank you for your hard work. Well, thank you. Shauna, TurboTax messed up my direct deposit. Roy Smith, American people need help now. Donna, what if my husband makes $60,000? I only make $30,000, and we filed joint with one child. So that's 90,000, which is, I don't know. I mean, under the CARES Act back in May, it was the double the amount. So whatever the eligibility amount of income was, it was double if it was joint filing, and you got a double check. So under Mitch's theory, it's not anything but a theory, it would possibly be $80,000 if husband and wife joint file, and you would get a double check. That is where we are, and the child, they would get a stimulus check as well, a smaller one. Lashisha, I'm on SSDI and I have a payee. Will get it the second stimulus check? Yes, if you are on SSDI and you have a payee, the payee gets your stimulus check. They also got your first stimulus check. So if you don't know where it is, ask the payee. Horace, thank you so much for being informative, but Mitch McConnell's insane. I'm an essential worker. I work long hours. I absolutely love my job. You're going to penalize me for working in the trenches? Yeah, I mean, it's there's so much wrong. There's so much wrong with Mitch McConnell's bill, and I'll tell you why. It's talking about what happened last year with the $40,000. It's talking about what happened last year. Well, how about this year? You know, I can reverse the number two different ways. I can have someone who made $100,000 last year and has lost their job this year during the pandemic, can't make ends meet, are about to be evicted, can't make rent, can't make anything, and you're not going to give them a penny because they did really well last year. Doesn't make sense. You can also do the reverse of it, which is someone who made nothing last year, $400, and this year is making $1 million. You're going to give them a stimulus check. It doesn't make sense, Mitch. It doesn't. As with Mitch, nothing makes sense. Dora, hi from San Dimas. Hello, San Dimas. Tammy, thank you for God bless. Linda, they screwed us up. We didn't get those checks during the lockdown. Now they're relaxing, degrading. Laura, thank you, LALATE. Thank you so much for the updates. I love your delivery. It's so succinct and clear to the point. Well, thank you. I try to stay simple. But I also try to personalize it for the viewers individually, because a lot of you have unusual or detailed circumstances. And some of you may listen to me answer someone else's question, may be the same as yours. Erlene, I love watching your posts. You do a complete explanation of everything. Well, thank you. John, thank you for your time, especially for the people on SSDI and SSA. Thank you. Carolyn, thank you for the information. I get SSI and SSA. I love watching you. Thank you. David Young, I appreciate all that you're doing to keep us informed. Linda, I didn't get my first stimulus check because I was claimed by my grandson on his Social Security. Means I don't have income tax, but he says he couldn't claim me. I didn't receive my check. So yeah, under the first stimulus package, if you were a dependent on someone else's return, you did not get a first stimulus check. It's a bad law. That's the way it was written. The second stimulus check law does not do that. So that's the difference. Lisa, thank you, LA. We appreciate and love you. Well, thank you. Sunshine, they can afford to take a vacation while we're struggling. Dawn, we need to vote them out. Michelle, what about receiving PUA retroactive benefits for Texas? Becky, I made myself, and I found myself on the floor. It was in my freezer. I threw it out. I don't know what that's about. Maybe that's Mitch McConnell's cooking. Donna, I love your no BS attitude. Getting to the point makes me happy. Kindred spirits. Well, thank you. Thank you for tuning in, Donna. Victoria Dill, I agree. $2,000 a month for 6 months to help people in need, like my family and my family struggling. Robin, haven't received my first stimulus check yet. I'm on SSDI with a representative payee. I live alone, so the representative payee would have received your check. So they would have received your check. That's why you didn't get a check. The only reason they may not have gotten a check is if you were dependent on someone else's tax return. Pat, I'm a civil service retiree and I get a small Social Security check. I'm under the $40,000 range. Would I get a second stimulus check? Yes, absolutely. But if we throw away that $40,000 chatter of Mitch McConnell, you would still get a second stimulus check, even because and Social Security is not a reason to not get it. Uh, Janella, thank you, LA, for much needed information. Well, thank you. Diana, I have no income. I just applied for SSI. I got the first stimulus, so I will get the second one. That's great you got the first one. Yes, you will get the second one as well. Carolyn, thank you so much. Michael, what if my employer does not apply for the money? That's not for stimulus. So stimulus, your employee doesn't have to apply for you to get the money. Wanda, thank you for breaking everything down. Thank you. Linda, we pray we getting the money today. Yes, I wish you were as well. Lamar, you're great. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. Jeff, betting the SBA is digging it deeper. Charlie, the $40,000 limit really hurts. Last year I made more than $40,000, but this year, due to the pandemic, I'm making nothing. That's my point. I don't think the $40,000 makes sense. I think Mitch McConnell's just talking out of his, you know what. Bo B, LA, you got us covered. Yes. Darcel, you've been clear on the information. Well, thank you. Karen, I love the way you report things straight shooter. Well, thank you. Jude, they got to get a grip soon. Delays are causing civil unrest. Very well said. Denise, them and their vacation recess. BS. Awful. Will they be basing on $40,000 adjusted income, says Martha Masden. I don't know. It's McConnell throwing out a number out of nowhere. I don't know. Heidi, I'm on SSI. I didn't receive the first check. Why? You may not have received it if you were a dependent on someone else's tax return. Then you don't qualify for it. Or if you had a representative payee. Otherwise, you would have been eligible for a first stimulus check. You might have not gotten it if they didn't know where you were. Lark Calvert, I only made $9,000 a year on SSI. I'm dying here. What the hell? Adam, what if joint filed married $60,000 a year? Yes, if we understand what Mitch McConnell's calculation is, we don't know. Another person asking what the $40,000 is made upon. It's again Mitch McConnell just throwing out a number. Tina, what about Social Security beneficiaries? Will they get a second stimulus check if another package goes through? Yes, the fact that you are a beneficiary, someone else's Social Security doesn't negate or qualify you for a second stimulus check. Violet, thank you for the info. Well, thank you so much. What about veterans? Veterans are included as well. What about the ones that have a payee and direct deposit the payee receives it, says Lucille Appelin. Thank you so much for your information, Kay Gergesa. Well, thank you. Sherry, another person asked me, what is the $40,000 adjusted gross? I don't know. Lisa, I never got my first stimulus check because they took it from my husband's past. I mean, that is really one of the key issues is when you have a joint filer and there's something happens with the joint filer, whether they die or you get divorced, it makes everything so complicated. If you like today's video, like in the comments below, drop some comments as well, and I'll try to answer them tomorrow. Please like and share our videos. Stay with us. Don't leave us. Please continue to watch and subscribe. And as always, stay with LA for more.